Hi everyone, thank you so much for the intro. Let me just pull out some of my notes because a girl, has to have her notes. But like I mentioned earlier, my name is Luna Cisneros, also known as Luna Karr. I perform everywhere, honestly, all over Texas. Wherever you put me, I will be there. Okay, so I wanted to just start right. Everything that I share today, it comes from like my experience, my real experiences, right? As somebody who lives in the RGB and was raised in Mexico and then over here. So it comes from both worlds, right? So everything that I share comes from my family, comes from who I am as a person. So a little bit about how being a parent shaped my experience as a trans person. I think I struggled with that idea in the beginning, right? Of like, how am I going to be? Because even before all this, I was married, had a kid. I was very just myself, just not this form, right? I was very like non-binary. I was like, presenting more in the masculine side of things with my ex-partner. We had a kid, but I've always been a drag queen. I've always performed. Drag really let me find my light and let me find my voice of experiencing my femininity through drag. And my partner was totally aware of that, ex-partner. It was very hard to, whenever we found out we were going to be parents, because one, I was very young. I was scared because I'm like, what does it mean for a child to be born in Texas and be born with a parent that's queer and another one that is not so much, right? That parent was very more in the sense of every other Brazilian. So it was a very interesting battle that I kept on having throughout my whole relationship, my whole parenting. We both had different styles of parenting. So it was definitely something that I struggled with, and I constantly it was an uphill battle. Fast forward to now that I'm myself. We divorced when she was 2, she's now 5. So she sees me as, she's always seen me, as somebody who cares for her, loves her, and is always gonna be there for her. And I think that's what's like the beauty of it, that when people say, it's hard to understand trans people, it's really hard to get used to you and the new you. It's like, I think I can prove that my child has always seen me and does not change her view on me, doesn't see me as less of, doesn't confuse her because she knows it's she, she knows not to call me he, and it's on her own terms. Like, I never had to explain that to her. She just saw me as who I was. And every time she wants a blind box, she knows to act a little bit more extra nice with me, because she loves blind boxes. Okay. What it's like to, I have some questions for myself, so I'm just, going off of that. So what it's like to being a trans parent here in the Rio Grande Valley? It's a lot. It really, really is a lot, because I see it whenever we have like events at school. It's very like, they see 2 moms and they're like, so where's the dad? Like what's happening here? Because other kids have their mom and their dad, and it's very visible. So it is a little awkward, because sometimes they're like, wait, Olivia has 2 moms. So they're a little confused, right? So especially for me personally, I find that a very like difficult line to navigate, because I don't want to like out myself as trans, because I don't know who's around. And especially like we mentioned in the beginning, like Texas is a very sensitive state, that they cannot, the thought of trans people for them is just very hard to understand. And most of our lives are always at risk walking down the street. So it's the same mentality I've always had, that survival mentality. And I don't think maybe it's also because of what I see and what I've experienced in the military. I'm also a veteran. That's another layer to it, that I'm always like self-aware of a lot of things. I look at the most minimal thing, and I'm very like hyper-fixated on those things. So it's been very like challenging, but at the same time it's very rewarding, because I'm showing my child that I'm being my true authentic self, no matter where we're at. No matter if it's at school, no matter if it's at the bank, no matter if it's at the mall, no matter if it's with my family or her family. I feel like I'm truly showing her to be herself, no matter what, right? Whatever challenge that we see. So I talked a little bit, that was in like the parent aspect of things. I want to talk about more now into drag, right? How I found my voice through drag. So I'm gonna throw it back like 2017, girl. That's when I first started like doing drag. That's when I came back from the military. I remember being there. I was like struggling with my identity and who I was as a person. I always knew I was queer, but I never knew it was possible to live your life authentically. So I started doing drag as a form of like finding my community, finding spaces where I can truly just be myself without being looked down upon. You know, everyone was always having fun at the clubs, everyone was doing things in the dark rooms, everyone's like, you know, dressing up however they wanted to, wearing makeup, not makeup, having eyebrows, no eyebrows. So drag really like let me find my identity and my confidence. Drag really was that girl for me. So I started doing drag for the identity aspect of it all, and because I've always been a performer. So little by little, I started meeting friends, and that's when I met an amazing queen, Queen Beatrix, and she really mentored me in the aspect. Yes.
No, I'm just saying one day.
Oh, okay. I have 1 minute.
Yes.
Okay, sitting. So we started this whole drag out HIV. So we started talking about the impact of HIV in the Latino community, and using all these like 10, 20 drag queens around the RGB to distribute condoms, to know about PrEP, to know about PEP, to talking about safe sex, to talking about what sex is, what where to go, resources, and really sharing resources around the RGB. So that's where I started traveling more, performing more, meeting other people, and training other drag queens. We've gone to NOLA to do trainings, we've gone to El Paso to do trainings. I don't remember other places, but we've done a lot of trainings, and that's where I like my ground roots in the community, and that's where I found my community, and I found my voice to really help trans people around the LGBT, trans people in Brownsville get their name changed and find their resource to take them to that name change, to know about identity, to find their own community, to find spaces where they can get tested. So that's essentially like how I started a lot of my work, and I started doing performances. We started, recently we just had one with Planned Parenthood, where we do a loteria and we talk about all the great things that Planned Parenthood can do for the queer community. We've also collaborated with other organizations like the Valley AIDS Council, Casa Orgullo, Pride, South Texas Equality Project. I was also a former board member there. I have a lot of titles, honestly, y'all, that I just did not want to like bust them out, but I've been around. I've been around in the good way. I've been around in the way of like, yes, trust me. Well, hey, everything is good, right? So I've been around like really helping and learning in what my community needs and where we can build these like bridges. And it's really like, people know now that if they need hormones and the doctor's not prescribing them for whatever reason, they can't see the doctor, maybe I will share my hormones with them. Clip this out, girl, because I don't even soon. But yeah, that's a little bit of what I do. I really use my drag as a tool to meet my people where they're at and to really bring my community together. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.